Hello everyone, Cool Dude Kobermai here with another episode of Choose Your Character. Before we start, I would just like to tell all my viewers thank you for the positive thoughts and reinforcement that my last episode was given. It means a lot to me that people enjoy the content I make. Another note, I would like to give thanks to my good friend Lennox Sands for helping me out with these thumbnails. The link to his Twitter is in the description. I don't necessarily have a schedule planned for the series, but I would estimate that a new episode will release every other week. That way I have time to work on the video, script it and everything, while at the same time retaining the time I need for school. That being said, expect more consistent uploads over the summer. Anyways, with no further announcements, it's time to discuss the episode. This is the second episode, and I have already gotten numerous requests from you all as to which characters you want me to discuss moveset potential for. And we will get to the requests soon, but as for now, it's time to discuss my most wanted fighter to join the roster, Phoenix Wright from the Ace Attorney series. While Raiden is a character I want an awful lot, Phoenix is still my most wanted character of all to join. Phoenix is the main protagonist of most of the Ace Attorney games and a supporting character in all the others. He is a defense attorney who has caught multiple murderers through investigation of crime scenes and courtroom disputes. His games consist of Phoenix and his partner Maya Fey as they investigate murders and protect the falsely accused. The storytelling of the first game alone is one of my favorite storylines in any game to date, with the entire story building up to the presence of a decade-old murder and Phoenix eventually being the one to solve it. In terms of what he could bring to Smash to make him worthy of joining the rest of the gaming all-stars, Phoenix is debatably the third most iconic Capcom protagonist. While Mega Man and Ryu take the top spots, his main competition consists of Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil and Monster Hunter from the games of the same name. Phoenix has an advantage over these two though, as Phoenix is a character who was born and raised on Nintendo handhelds and consoles, with him only branching out to other platforms in recent years. Phoenix is what I would consider to be a character that Capcom owns, but of a Nintendo home. It's also worth to mention that Sakurai has said in a Famitsu column that he is a fan of the Ace Attorney series. Aside from that, a big argument I see against Nick is that he has a limited moveset potential and is just an ordinary lawyer in a roster of heroes, kings, and gods. This is an invalid argument in my opinion, as what makes Duck Hunt anything more than a normal dog, or even Mario just being a normal human aside from his power-ups. Phoenix has a wide variety of items, techniques, and references to pull a moveset from, and the comedic persona to back up his quirky and goofy personality. With all that being said, let's get on to what Phoenix would be like in Smash. Before anything, I should mention that Phoenix isn't alone in battle. He brought Maya, his assistant, along with him. Maya isn't part of Phoenix's moveset, but rather stands in the background, cheering him on and assisting with certain moves. Starting things off with his appearance, Phoenix and Maya's default designs would be how they appear in Ace Attorney 1, as that is their most iconic appearance. Like every other character in the roster, Phoenix has alts based off of other characters in his series. Phoenix's alts consist of references of the other lawyers or important characters in the series. Maya also changes her clothes with each palette. The colors go as follows: Phoenix and Maya, Miles Edgeworth, Manfred von Karma, Detective Gumshoe, Larry Butts, The Judge, Apollo Justice, and Phoenix how he appears in Apollo Justice. Upon entering the battle, Phoenix's desk appears on the stage with Phoenix himself behind it. He points his finger forward, then walks around his desk and going into his idle animation. The desk then disappears while Maya cheers for him in the background. His stance consists of Phoenix standing straight up with his hands at his sides, just like he does in his games. For his first idle animation, he'll dust off his pant leg with his right hand as Maya looks around in the background. His second idle animation has Phoenix put his hand on his chin, seemingly lost in thought. During this, Maya cheers him on once again. His victory screens go as follows. Just a reminder that when I say name flash, it refers to when the fighter's name appears on the victory screen. Phoenix rubs the back of his head laughing and smiling. Maya runs around cheering before they both look at the camera and flash a thumbs up. Name flash. 2. Phoenix takes a big drink of coffee while Maya takes a bite out of a cheeseburger. They both look at the camera while they're eating, smiling. Name flash. 3. Phoenix and Maya perform a handshake saying "case closed" before they smile for a camera flash. Name flash. Their victory theme is "Won the Case," the song that is played after Phoenix solves the case. This song loops over and over just like Cloud and Joker's victory themes. The final aesthetic touch to mention is that, because he isn't really a fighter, his face will occasionally flinch when he hits his opponent, like how everyone else does when they get hit. With all that out of the way, let's get on to how he fights. Starting off with his jab, for the first hit, Phoenix would shove his hand forward. The second hit would have Phoenix toss papers at his opponent after pulling them out of his suit. The final hit has him do his signature finger point attack while he yells, "There!" This jab comes out at about moderate speed, and the hits combined do a total of about 14%. For his dash attack, Phoenix trips over himself, flailing his arms as he falls. Once he hits the ground, he slides forward a bit. It takes Phoenix a while to get himself up after taking his tumble, but the attack does about 15% and has decent knockback, launching the opponent forwards and killing at about 110%. Moving on to his tilt attacks, for his F-tilt, Phoenix performs a backhand slap while accidentally throwing an autopsy report. This attack hits twice because once he finishes the slap, the autopsy report goes flying forward a bit. This attack does 18% if both hits connect, but has little to no knockback. Even at higher percents, it takes a while for Phoenix to kill the opponent with it. It also takes a while for the attack to become active, but has low end lag to compromise. Up tilt sees Phoenix swinging the Thinker statue upward 3 times. The attack does about 19% if all hits connect and knocks the opponent upward, killing them at decent percents in the 80 to 90% range. Lastly, his D tilt has Phoenix pointing at the floor looking for evidence, saying, "Aha!" This attack comes out really fast and has little startup end lag and knockback, allowing it to quickly combo itself into itself at moderate percentages. Next, we have Phoenix's smash attacks. For his forward smash, Phoenix points his finger forward and yells, "Take that!" The speech bubble from the Ace Attorney games then takes up space directly in front of him, acting as the hitbox of the move. The speech bubble is decently sized and knocks the enemy forward, dealing 19% if it hits. This move also kills the opponent in the mid-70% range. But as a result, the move has a whopping 16 startup frames and 16 end lag frames. Up smash sees Phoenix throwing the Thinker clock used in the opening cases of Phoenix Wright 1 up in the air. It spins in the air a few times, hitting and knocking away anyone who comes into contact with it. This move becomes active at about frame 11, has a hitbox for 13 frames, and has 11 move end lag frames, allowing him to hit opponents in key moments. It kills the opponent at about 86% and launches them directly upward. It deals about 16%, and if he hits the opponent with the clock, there is a chance a voice clip will play saying, "I think the time is 1 o'clock," as a reference to the time and weapon of the murder in Ace Attorney's 1's opening act. Finally, his down smash has Phoenix's desk appear in front of him as he begins charging the move. When released, he slams his hands down on the desk, sending small shockwaves on either side of him. The move has a hitbox on the desk and the shockwaves, with both dealing about 18% and knocking the opponent sideways. It doesn't kill until the 90% range, but it knocks the opponent off stage in a way that would make it difficult for most characters to recover. The move has about 20 frames of startup as the desk appears, and has 18 frames of end lag, making it a very powerful yet risky attack. Next up is Phoenix's aerial attacks. First off, for his Nair, papers begin to blow out of Phoenix's suit jacket, flying on either side of him. Phoenix then grabs the papers before they blow away, stuffing them back in his jacket. This attack hits both sides of Phoenix, allowing him to defend himself in sticky situations, but has little to no knockback power. Despite this, if all the hits make contact with the opponent, it does about 16%, reasonable damage for a Nair. It also comes out quickly, having only 8 frames until becoming active and with 13 frames of end lag. Now for his Fair. For this attack, Phoenix takes the Thinker statue out from his suit jacket before swinging it downwards. This attack does 18% and it spikes if Phoenix hits the sweet spot, which is when the move is first coming out. The animation itself can be compared to that of Mario's forward air or King K. Rool's back air. The attack only takes about 9 frames of startup, allowing it to be used out of a short hop, but to compensate, it has a whopping 20 frames of end lag for the sheer force of the move. Up air has Phoenix straighten his back, standing straight up. He remains this way for about 1.5 seconds or until he has hit an opponent. The only hitbox on this move is Phoenix's spiky hair, but his hair knocks foes upwards with tremendous power, killing as early as 65% in the right conditions. If he hits an opponent, he will wince as his head smashes into them. This move takes 13 frames to become active, making it one of his slower aerials, but it'll make up for it in power. Phoenix also has a comedic back air in which he turns around and lets out a gigantic sneeze with enough power to propel him forward a bit. This attack comes out at around frame 9 and kills the opponents very early. The attack itself does 21% and has decent range considering its power and kill potential. The main downside move, however, is that it has 23 frames of end lag, making it a very dangerous move to use. High risk, high reward. Finally, for his dare, Phoenix just stomps downward a few times. This move is quite underwhelming when compared to every other tool in his arsenal, but it comes out at a respectable speed, doing so at about frame 6 with another 6 for end lag. These kicks have almost no knockback but do about 6% for each of the three, making it good to rack up damage with. Let's move on to grabs. Phoenix's grab animation has him pointing forward and smiling. While Phoenix is doing this, Maya begins to glow in the background. Small waves appear on the ground in front of Phoenix, acting as the grab area of the move. If it connects, Maya keeps glowing and the opponent begins to squirm while a purplish mist surrounds them. Phoenix's pummel has him tossing papers at the opponent, doing about 1.5%. For all of his throws, Phoenix just points in the direction inputted by the player, and Maya moves her hands in that direction. The opponents then go flying in said direction. The only thing to note is that down throw is a combo throw for Phoenix, sending the opponents upward at a small distance. However, he does not have a kill throw. Before getting into his specials, I'll tell you that I will be covering them in a different order than usual. This will make sense once we get into it, but just a heads up. Starting things off with neutral special, Phoenix's neutral special is named Objection. Ah yes, what would the Ace Attorney series be without Phoenix's iconic word? This move is similar to a charge shot, but as opposed to being a projectile, it's a close-range chargeable attack. When B is pressed, Phoenix begins to put his hand on his chin and think. This move can be used, or you can pause charging it as soon as it's inputted, like every other chargeable projectile. However, the move has two different effects depending on the charge of the move. If it is used before fully charged, Phoenix yells, "Hold it," as the speech bubble appears in front of him, acting as the move's hitbox. If he hits the opponent with "Hold it," they will become paralyzed for a very short period of time. However, the move deals minuscule damage. The paralysis' duration increases as the move is charged. However, if you completely charge it, it will lose the paralysis as it becomes Objection. When the move is fully charged, an exclamation point will appear above Phoenix's head as the idea sound effect from the Ace Attorney series plays. Now, when he uses the move, he will yell "Objection," and the speech bubble of the same name will appear before him. While the move no longer paralyzes, it deals a massive 21% and has knockback equivalent to that of any other charge shot, killing very early. The move comes out at about frame 15 regardless of whether Hold It or Objection is used, and has 12 frames of end lag. Next, I will be talking about Phoenix's up special, Assisted Boost. This move is unique to Smash, as it really isn't from any Ace Attorney game. When used, Maya will begin to glow in the same way she does when using a grab, and Phoenix becomes wrapped in a purple orb. Once he is wrapped up, he can freely move around in the direction in the air at a decent speed. This orb remains active for about 2 to 3 seconds before he goes into free fall. This move does not have a hitbox and cannot be cancelled once used unless Phoenix grabs the ledge or touches the ground. However, he does have super armor during the move. Now to get into Phoenix side and down specials. The reason I saved these two for last is because they play into Phoenix's unique gimmick, collecting evidence and using it in the courtroom. Phoenix's down special is called Investigation. For this attack, Phoenix begins to think as a light bulb meter above his head slowly begins to fill. If the meter becomes completely filled, Phoenix goes "Aha!" and an exclamation point is added next to his health bar. This represents a piece of evidence that Phoenix is currently holding. Phoenix can hold up to 3 pieces of evidence at a time. However, with each piece of evidence in his possession, the charge required to get it increases. If Phoenix doesn't have any evidence, it takes him 2 seconds to charge the meter. If he already has one, it'll take him 4.5 seconds to get a second piece. And if he has the other 2, it'll take him a whopping 7 seconds to get the final piece. Evidence can only be obtained by using this move, and if Phoenix stops charging or is attacked, the meter completely empties, meaning even if Phoenix is a second away from getting his final piece of evidence and he cancels it, he will lose all progress charging the bar and will remain with only 2 pieces of evidence. He also loses all of his evidence when he loses a stock. You may be wondering now, what exactly does the evidence do? Well, that takes us to Phoenix's final side special, Present Your Evidence. When Phoenix has at least 1 piece of evidence and this move is used, Phoenix will take his hand and hit it on some papers. If there's anyone within grab range directly in front of Phoenix, the attack will begin. Phoenix will begin pointing at his opponent and speaking lines such as, "This evidence proves you committed the crime," or "You can't hide from justice." The enemy then takes damage equivalent to how much evidence you have in your inventory. If he has 1 piece, the opponent takes 24%. If he has 2 pieces, the opponent takes 41%. If he has all 3 pieces of evidence and hits the opponent, a cutscene begins to play similar to the one in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and the enemy is then killed instantly regardless of percent.
Got all I need! I have more danger! More evidence! I have danger! I have evidence! One who actually committed the crime is you! No alibi, no justice, no dream, no hope! It's time to pay for your crimes! Take this!
Hyper Combo KO! Player 1 wins!
In battle, it's not a question of guilty or not guilty.
You may think that is a bit overpowered. However, the odds of an opponent getting all 3 pieces of evidence is extremely minuscule, as when is the opponent going to have 7 seconds just to charge up an evidence meter? However, once you master this mechanic in Phoenix as a whole, you might find opportunities to get the 3rd and final piece of evidence to end your opponent's final stock early. And with that, we're finished with Phoenix's moveset. Overall, he's a nice character that mixes aerial attacks with special moves, all the while charging up his evidence meter. I would think that he could potentially be a overpowered character, however, the evidence meter is not nearly as powerful as it may seem at first glance. And now we have finished Phoenix's moveset, but before we call it a day, there's a few things left to talk about. Phoenix's speed is almost equivalent to that of Luigi, and his jump height is just average, making him overall a very balanced character in these aspects. Phoenix's stage is the courtroom. In this stage, you fight on a large witness stand in the center of the courtroom. There are 2 lawyers on either side of the room and the judge in the background. The lawyers will be randomly chosen before the battle, cycling through different lawyers in the Ace Attorney series. Phoenix will always appear on the stage, however, unless he is in battle, in which case he will always be replaced by another random lawyer. The only hazard on this stage is the judge's gavel, which he will occasionally smack onto his pedestal, causing hazards such as screen shake or even earthquakes to occur. However, the area you fight on is almost exactly like a Final Destination stage, making it potentially legal if hazards are turned off. And finally, the last thing we have to talk about is his music. Phoenix's main theme is a remix of Pursuit Cornered. This is the theme that plays when Phoenix is about to crack a criminal's case and determine who the real murderer is. It's a fast beat song that truly envisions what you would see in a fighting game. This is what I believe to be Phoenix's main theme, and I think it would make for a great remix in Smash. Other songs that I would like to have enter with his battle pack would go as follows: Cross-Examination, New Arrangement. Godot, Smell of Coffee, new arrangement. And Pursuit from Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth Investigations. And with the music out of the way, we have finally finished Phoenix Wright. As you can see, he's clearly a character that I desperately want in the game. I put way too much thought into his moveset and made it a bit complicated for it to be reasonable. That being said, he's my most wanted character, so I felt a lot of passion went into it. I think that Phoenix is pretty likely. I don't know if he will make it into this game or the next, but I do feel eventually he will make it into the series. Thank you for tuning into my most recent episode, and do remember to leave your character that you want me to make a moveset for in the comments section below. Thank you so much for tuning into my video. Be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe bell if you enjoyed this episode, and share it with a friend. Thank you so much, and I will see you in 2 weeks where we will cover our next character, the Hellish Swordsman of Flame, Scorpion, from the Mortal Kombat series. Thank you, and bye-bye.